There is a trap waiting for anyone looking to move to the Sacramento region, and it's the belief that these suburbs are all just nice houses in safe zip codes, but they're not. The layout of the city dictates your entire lifestyle. Pick the wrong side of the map and you aren't just buying a house, you're buying a lifestyle that might not fit you and your family. You might end up with a 60-minute cross-town commute you didn't plan for, or paying 50% more than your neighbor just 5 miles away. Today, we are going to be your GPS. We're going to break down the Northeast, the East, the South, and the Central Corridor. And stick around to the end, we're going to reveal the hidden deal breakers that apply to every single one of these areas. Now, most buyers only look at the list price, but we're going to show you the specific financial surprises from Mello-Roos taxes to insurance zones that can make one $750,000 house cost $1,000 a month more than another. You need to see the math before you make an offer. Now, before we drop into the cities, look at this map. If you're coming from a state like Texas, you're probably used to a loop or a beltway system where you can easily circle the city to get anywhere. Sacramento is not a loop city. It operates on a hub and spoke system. You have to go into the hub to get out to another spoke. Let's map out exactly which cities sit on each spoke. The northeast spoke, Roseville, Rocklin, Lincoln, and Granite Bay. The east spoke is Folsom, El Dorado Hills, I'll refer to as EDH, and Rancho, Cordova. The south spoke is Elk Grove, the vertical spine is Natomas, and the pocket or Green Haven area. Here's why this matters. Getting from one spoke to another is not intuitive. If you live in Roseville but work in Rancho, Cordova, you are cutting across the hub. That isn't just a commute during rush hour, that is a grind.
Now, once our clients see that map, the strategy usually changes. Most people start their search looking for that perfect kitchen, that perfect backyard, but here's the hard truth about real estate. You can change almost anything about a house. You can change the floors, the paint, the kitchen, but what you can't change is where it's located on the map. Now, we see people buy that perfect Zillow house only to realize 6 months later that they are 25 minutes from the freeway and the local vibe is a total mismatch. Now, we hear all the time, I wish I had found your channel sooner, we would have chosen a completely different area. And this is why we prioritize the corridor first approach. We lock in your location and then we find the best house within that boundary. Let's start with the most popular destination for relocating families, the Northeast. This is the I-80 corridor, but it has a very important arm called Highway 65. This cluster includes Roseville, Rocklin, Lincoln, and Granite Bay. Roseville is the anchor. It's one of the top choices for families, and it's easy to see why. The lifestyle here is built around activity. Roseville is known as a trail city with miles of connected bikes and walking paths. The parks are great, the schools are top tier, and it feels like a very cohesive, active community with a lot done by the city of Roseville themselves. It is also the healthcare hub for the region, with massive Kaiser and Sutter campuses here, which is a huge draw for the medical profession. On top of that, it's the shopping mecca of the Sacramento region. You have the Galleria Mall, the fountains, and yes, like every client asks us, there's Costco. There's actually 2 of them. Now, builders are incredibly active here, offering everything from entry-level homes around $500,000 to semi-customs over $1.5 million. Now, Rocklin is just 10 minutes up the road, but the terrain completely changes. It's not flat like Roseville. You get rolling hills, oak trees, and if you're lucky enough to have the budget, you can get a home with a view. So if you want that foothill feel without leaving the city, Rocklin is often a better pick. Now, Lincoln is further up Highway 65, and it's well known for its master plan communities that are incredibly rich in amenities. We're talking pools, clubhouses, and golf-friendly streets. Now, you typically don't find those big community pools included in HOAs in Roseville, but you can find them in Lincoln.
Now, I have to give you the insider secret for this cluster: utilities. Roseville has its own electric grid, Roseville Electric. Rocklin and Lincoln are on PG&E, and that is why having owned solar is critical in these areas. Without it, your summer cooling bills can be significantly higher than your neighbors in Roseville. Stick around to the end because we'll explain how utilities are just one part of the total cost puzzle. Finally, sitting right next to Roseville is the luxury tier Granite Bay. This is where you go for privacy, custom estates, and top-tier education. We see a lot of executives and physicians choosing Granite Bay because you get a larger lot, privacy, but you're still just 10 minutes from the Roseville hospitals and the Galleria. Granite Bay is also zoned for the Eureka Union School District and the highly coveted Granite Bay High School. Families move here specifically to get into those schools. Now, we can only scratch the surface here. For the Roseville Deep Dive, we have an entire Ultimate Guide to Roseville linked below. And you can also check out our Living in Granite Bay guide where we break down those top tier schools and neighborhoods. By the way, if we haven't met, I'm Danny. My wife Shantae and I help families relocate to the Sacramento region every single day. We make these videos to give you an honest perspective so you don't make a mistake. Actually, choosing between these corridors is the #1 thing we solve during our discovery calls. We pull up this map, plot your job, your budget, and your lifestyle. We can usually narrow down to just 2 suburbs to focus on before you even book your discovery trip. If you want to fast track that, the link to book the call is in the description, or just give us a call or shoot us a text. Now, the Northeast is great, but it is still valley living. If you tell us, Danny, I need a real elevation, I need water, I want to feel like I'm away from the city, we have to leave I-80 and drive south to the next major artery. And that brings us to Highway 50.
This is the East Spoke, Folsom, El Dorado Hills, and Rancho Cordova. Now the biggest difference here is water and elevation. Folsom gives you access to 3 major bodies of water, the American River, Lake Natomas, and Folsom Lake for boating. Now, you will just not find that in Roseville, Lincoln, or even Rocklin. Now, portions of Folsom also sit higher up, so you start getting views of the city lights, or if you're lucky, Folsom Lake. But if you want the ultimate view, you're gonna go 1 exit further to El Dorado Hills. El Dorado Hills is more exclusive. It sits high on the ridge, anchored by the massive luxury community Serrano. Now, maybe you love this corridor, but Folsom and El Dorado Hills are stretching your budget. I suggest you look at Rancho Cordova. Rancho sits closer to Sacramento, which actually puts you closer to downtown for commuting. It is flat like Roseville, so you don't get the El Dorado Hills views, but it offers a ton of new construction options at some of the most affordable price points in the Sacramento region. Now, you're only 15 minutes away from the Folsom amenities, so it's a great strategic compromise.
Now let's talk about the logistics. Folsom isn't just about the lake. It is the tech hub of the region. You have major employers like Intel and Micron right here. Highway 50 traffic can be a beast, but Folsom and Rancho Cordova have a massive advantage, the light rail. The Gold Line light rail train runs straight from Folsom to downtown Sacramento. If you work at the state capitol, you can skip the traffic entirely. That is a huge pro that Roseville and Elk Grove just don't have. Also, watch out for the utility line again. Folsom and Rancho Cordova are on SMUD and typically offers much lower rates. El Dorado Hills is PG&E territory. That means if you cross the county line into EDH, your electric bill will likely jump. And one more warning about EDH, fire insurance. Because of the brush and elevation, some homes here are in high fire zones. We're going to cover exactly how that impacts your monthly payment in the deal breaker section at the end. If you need hills, water, and a train option, then forget the north. The east is where you want to be. And we have an ultimate guide to living in Folsom linked in the description so you can watch that next.
We've talked about the north and east, but sometimes families tell us those areas are beautiful, but I want my kids to grow up in a community with a little bit more cultural mix. Now, if that's a priority for you, you may want to look south to Highway 99. This is Elk Grove, and Elk Grove is massive. It's the largest suburb we're covering in this video. Because of that size, the amenities are pretty dang good. You have massive aquatic centers, huge community parks, and a calendar full of multicultural festivities. Now, the vibe here is just a tad different than the other places. It's warm, it's friendly, and the food scene is unmatched. We recently had a client choose Elk Grove over Roseville strictly because of the food scene. Now, a huge plus is the builders are also very active in Elk Grove. So whether you want a brand new home in a master plan community or an older established community, Elk Grove may be the perfect fit. Now, there is a trade-off. The one thing Elk Grove lacks is a major high-end shopping hub like the Roseville Galleria. Now, you do have all the essentials, Costco, Target, Trader Joe's, but if you like luxury shopping or you want a plethora of stores when you go to the mall, you're gonna have to make that drive north. If community vibe and cultural mix are your top priorities, watch our Elk Grove deep dive linked below.
Finally, we have the I-5 corridor, which brings us to Natomas. Natomas is unique because it sits right between downtown and the airport. This makes it a top choice for state workers, legislators, and frequent travelers. You can be at the state capitol or boarding a gate in 10 minutes flat. We're actually really excited about Natomas right now. For a long time, building was paused, but the levees have been upgraded, the moratorium has been lifted, and we are finally seeing a lot of new communities coming back to the area. The reality check, even with the upgrades, you are in a basin. So you need to budget for mandatory flood insurance. And stick around because we're gonna break down exactly what that means for your wallet. Okay, I promised to reveal the hidden deal breakers. Now, most buyers focus entirely on the purchase price, but across the Sacramento region, there are 3 critical factors that can change your monthly payment by thousands of dollars. Factor number 1, the tax trap. This is a warning specifically for new construction versus older neighborhoods. In many new communities, whether it's Roseville, Folsom, or Elk Grove, you have a special tax bond called Mello-Roos. These can easily be $300 to $1,000 a month on top of your mortgage. Think about that. You might be looking at a $750,000 new build, but the monthly payment feels like $850,000 because of the tax bond. Sometimes buying an established home on a lower tax rate helps you qualify for more house. Factor number 2, the HOA. This varies widely. Some neighborhoods have 0 HOA, others have 100, some are over $300. And you have to ask yourself, what are you getting for this HOA? If you're paying $300 a month for a gate, for me, that's a no. But if that $300 gets you resort style pool, a clubhouse, gym, front yard maintenance, and high-speed internet, that might actually be saving you some money. You have to check the value, not just the fee. Factor number 3, insurance. This is a big one right now. In Natomas, you have flood insurance. Now, my mother-in-law lives in Natomas, and for her smaller home, this runs about $600 a year. Now, this may not be a huge expense, but it's definitely something that you're gonna wanna get quoted on if you're considering Natomas. In the foothills like El Dorado Hills and Auburn, you have fire insurance. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Many traditional insurance carriers have stopped writing policies in these high fire zone areas. If you can't find a standard carrier, you may be forced to use the California Fair Plan, which is the state's insurer of last resort. This coverage is not only more limited, but it is significantly more expensive. We often see these premiums 2 to 3 times higher than a standard homeowner's policy, sometimes pushing $4,000 to $5,000 just for fire coverage. We have seen deals fall apart at the last minute, not because the buyers couldn't qualify for the mortgage, but because once that insurance spike was added, the buyers could no longer qualify with that addition. So it's highly important that you verify the insurability of the home before you fall in love with it.
This is exactly why you need a local expert on your side. These deal breakers don't just vary by city, they vary by neighborhood and sometimes even by street. We recently had a buyer in a typical master plan community in West Roseville. We've sold numerous homes in the same exact community and they were easy to get insurance. But this specific home was on a nice court and the court backed to open space in a trail. Well, it turned out that open space had a fire a few years back. And guess what? Because of that history, that specific home only qualified for the fair plan, meaning the buyers were hit with a massive premium hike that the neighbors just down the street didn't have to pay. So you have to check every single property before you make an offer. So how do you decide what suburb is the best fit for your family? Don't just look at houses on a Sunday. We tell our clients to do a local test drive. That means go to the grocery store in that suburb on a Tuesday at 5 p.m. Go eat dinner. Take your kids to the park or a local spot. Feel the vibe. Make sure, are people feeling rushed? Are they friendly? How does the community feel to you before you make the official decision on where to buy? And most importantly, do the test commute to work not on a Sunday morning, but at actual rush hour. If you're gonna make this commitment to make this drive for the next 5 to 10 years, you wanna know that before you purchase your home.
Now your next step is simple. We have linked our deep dive videos for the suburbs in the description so you can keep researching which one is the best fit for your family. Click right here for the ultimate guide to Roseville or right here for the ultimate guide to Elk Grove. If you want to streamline your research and make sure you avoid those deal breakers, book your discovery call now. We'll narrow this whole map down to the exact 2 spots that fit your family. See you all in the next video.